Welcome back to our Amud Yomi Shiur. Yay. Amud Yomi Shiur here now. V'shalom v'chemesh. Welcome to everybody in Torah Anytime YouTube. And we are in Ayin Hey Amud Aleph in the very bottom of the page in the Mishnah. Yeah. Yeshir's Le'ilu Nishmas of Menachem ben Akiva. It is for the refuah. Please daven for the refuah of Chaim ben Sete and for the Hatzlocha of Chen Bas Yardena and Gabriel Yosef ben Marta should have Yeshua's Bekoid. Says Eilig Mishnah. Omer Adam L'Chaveru, a person may tell his friend, Nakesh imi v'anakesh imcha, which means a person may tell his friend, please come and help me weed my field, my garden. Yeah, do some weeding. And another time, Lamochor, very soon, I in return will weed with you. If we wouldn't have known about Hilchas Ribbis, we would have said, of course, what's the problem? You help a neighbor. But now we know that there could have been an issue. There could be an issue of Ribbis. Why? Because maybe my friend's field is harder to weed. Maybe the grass or the weeds growing in his field are harder. So I'm basically pre-conditioning here. Yeah. In other words, I'm making a condition, help me, and I'll help you later, possibly with something that's harder. And the Chiddush is, we're not concerned about that. We're not concerned. Why? Because we say weeding is probably more or less the same in many places, different places. And Hanami, if they know that the weeding in the other guy's field is significantly harder, then it's a problem. Yeah, because he says, weed with me now, and later on, I'll do something bigger for you. It's like, this is unbelievable. It's barring the job. Because, to employ a weeder, gardener to weed, then what? That would cost you money. You're borrowing something that's worth money in order to give you more money. But since weeding is more or less the same all over the place, that's why it's okay. And the same goes about ador imi ve'ador imcha. Yeah, you should hoe with me today, and I will hoe with you tomorrow. Yeah, do some, a little bit of cutting through the ground around the tree to hoe, and that is still okay. However, v'lo yomer lo nakish imi ve'ador imcha. Don't say today I want you to please come and weed the field with me, and tomorrow I'll do a do, I will hoe. Because the work is different, yeah, and therefore, by the way, Rashi also points out that it's a matter of time. In other words, if we talk about today and tomorrow, then probably it's all the same. But if I say, weed with me now, and I will hoe with you after, a certain period of time, then we say that it's more possible that one is harder than the other. Because it's a different kind of work, we're more concerned that the nature of one work will be, the future work will be harder than the one being done now, and that will be already Ribbis Darabanon. It's not Halvo, but Darabanon, it looks like Ribbis, that's bad enough. And the same thing, Ador imi v'anakesh imcha is also forbidden. Don't say, do the hoeing, the bit of plowing with me, and tomorrow, or not tomorrow, or after a long time, I'll be menakish with you. I'll weed with you. That's also because we are concerned that different types of work already may entail harder work later, and that could be already an issue of Ribbis. Yeah, we're about to finish the perek today. We are in the last Amud. Unbelievable. Continues the Gemara, the Mishnah, excuse me. Kol yemei grid echod, kol yemei revio achas, which means, let's say you didn't exactly say, I'm going to plow today, and you plow with me tomorrow. Let's say it's all the same season, which means all the days of grid, all the days of the dry season, are considered to be one day. What does that mean? Because the dry season, let's talk about plowing. In the dry season, it's easier to plow than in the wet season. Why? Because in the wet season, it's all muddy, it's all marshy, and it's harder to plow. Yeah. So koli may grid echod. Yetzel may grid. The may grid are from let's say from ER till Tammuz Av. I can help you in ER. You'll help me in Av. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's more or less the same. It's more or less the same kind of work. It's all the same level of hardship. We assume it's all fine. It's not called Ribbis. We are in Daf Ayin Hey Amud Beis. Welcome. Ayin Hey Amud Beis in Maseches Bava Metzia. Ayin Hey Amud Beis. For art school users, it's probably the end of one of the volumes, I assume. So, okay. Kol Yemei Revia Achas. What's Yemei Revia? The rainy season. Yeah, Ravia is rain. Yeah, the way the rain goes down on the earth like a man on a woman. Kol me Ravia achas. So if I help you one time, one day, while during the wet season, you can help me even 2, 3 months later in the wet season because we assume it's the same level of hardship and it's not called Ribbis. Continues the Mishnah. Lo yomer lo charosh imi begrid, v'ani echrosh imcha beravia. That you cannot do. Don't outright say, please help me in the easy season, which is grid, which is the dry season, and I'll help you when it gets even harder, which makes sense. A person will try to get his neighbor to get, out of his bed and say, come help me with my grid. Why should I do a favor for free? Not everyone wants to help their friend for nothing. So it says, no, don't worry. But you, when it will get even harder, when it's the wet season and it's harder to plow, then I'll help you. That's mamish also to do because that is Ribbis Midarabonon. Yeah, you're getting service now, giving him a bigger, more expensive service later on. Because a professional gardener would actually charge more for plowing in the wet season. Rabban Gamliel Oimer, and this is the last Mishnah giving us all kinds of examples and chumras and things about Ribbis. Rabban Gamliel Oimer, Yesh Ribbis Mukdemes, Yesh Ribbis Mucheres. Sometimes Ribbis is Mukdemis, is early, and sometimes there's also late Ribbis, and that's halacha. What's early Ribbis and late Ribbis? Ketzad, how is that? Nosan ein of lilvos imenu. Let's say a person is interested in what? Borrowing from someone. He knows this guy has money. I need cash now. I have already put my eyes on him, which means he's on my radar to borrow from him. The potential borrower, now Mishaleach, he sends a message, ve'oimer, he sends him what? Not just a message, sends him a nice gift, sends him a very, very fancy cheesecake for Shavuos. 7 layers, fancy. He never sends such fancy cakes to people. The Oimer, and he tells him outright, he's not being diplomatic, he cuts through the chase and says, Bishvir shetoveni. You know why I'm giving you this fancy cheesecake, the matana? Because I'm interested in borrowing from you. Yeah, mamish azoi. Zoi Ribbis Mukdemes. That's Ribbis Mukdemes. It's a prepaid Ribbis, although there was no loan yet. But if at the end of the day there will be a loan, then there was Ribbis. That, in other words, you gave him something extra in order to lend you money. Giving extra in order to get money, that is not Ribbis Ktsutza, and it's not Doraisa, but Midorabonon, that's Ribbis. That's early. What's late? Lova Himenu. Now we're going to describe the late Ribbis, the belated Ribbis. Lova Himenu, yeah. Again, Reuven borrowed from Shimon. And he gave him back his money. All very nice. He borrowed no Ribbis. He borrowed 100,000 pounds. He gives back 100,000 pounds. Then he gives him an extra gift. Yeah, the question is how far afterwards. But let's say around the same time of the return, yeah, he gives him an extra gift. Together the 100,000, he gives him a nice fancy cheesecake or an extra 500. Oh, thank you so much. You gave me money that was botel by me, which means you waited for your money. You rented, as we mentioned it before, your money to me, right? You had to say goodbye and stay away from your beloved money for that amount of time. I'm giving you an extra, and people would say extra gift of appreciation. That's called late Ribbis. So said, but Talmidei Chachamim may be allowed if it's something they would have done anyways. But by regular people, it's osir, even if Talmidei Chachamim. It's not so simple, really, halacha. Lamaisa Ribbis, yeah, you should not give anything extra to the person who lent you money before or after. I mean, obviously, once the deal is done, finished, yeah, and then you give him a gift which should give him anyways, then it's okay, right? You anyhow give him gifts. If you give everybody cheesecakes on Shavuos, 7 layers cheesecakes with billions of, I don't know, sauces on top and everything and blintzes, that's very nice. You do it to everybody, no problem. But if you do it knowingly that that's because he lent you the money, then it's an issue, even after the payment. Rabbi Shimon takes us one step further and says, Yesh Ribbis Devorim. Sometimes Ribbis is not something that translates into money, and it's not even something worth money. Ribbis Devorim is verbal Ribbis. What does that mean? Lo yomer loy. Oh, here's the Machlokas Rishonim. I'm explaining one way. A person who is the borrower should not tell the lender, Da kiba ish ploini mimokem ploini. Don't tell him, Mr. So-and-so came from such and such place. What's going on over here? It means as follows. Let's say I borrow money from you. Yeah, I borrowed money from you. Let's say, yeah, okay. And now I know that you really want to know that maybe you're always interested in knowing about people coming from England to Ramat B'Shemesh. And all of a sudden, I'm not a big Nayas guy. I'm not a Nayas Geber. I don't always talk about who's coming, who's going. And all of a sudden, very interestingly, because you lent me the money, I feel such gratitude towards you, and I start giving you the news, and I tell you, no, so and so came from London, from Manchester. Why am I giving you the information? I don't tell people about it so much. It doesn't interest me. I'm not a yachne. So why do I tell you? Because I'm trying to do you a favor, and that extra favor, which I usually don't do, I only do to you because you lent me money. That's called Ribbis Dvorim. Now, according to the Shulchan Aruch, he doesn't say that. He says that's only true if you ask me or you kind of command me to tell you the news. In other words, the Malve should not, according to Shulchan Aruch, the Malve should not feel superior and start commanding the Loive, tell me who's coming, tell me what's going on, yeah, in a way that you would not tell other people. Yeah, that it shouldn't come from the side of the Malve. In other words, so again, if the Loive anyhow tells everybody all the news, you know these people that always tell you the news about everybody and everything? Yeah, you have such people. So then, of course, you can tell the Malve you do it anyways, right? If you initiate it and you usually don't say to other people, it's a question. Some Rishonim say yes, some no. But definitely, if the Malve is the one who feels empowered to ask him, tell me the news, tell me this, tell me that, that is definitely not allowed because the Malve is sort of kimat demanding favors from the Love, and that's for sure brave. That's for sure something that should not be done. That's Shulchan Aruch. That's a psak of Shulchan Aruch. The Elu, and actually the Gemara will bring it out a special pasuk that tells us about Ribbis Dvorim. Okay. Okay. The Elu Avrim Belo Taaseh. Who are the people who are culpable? Who are the people who are the sinful ones or Avrim Belo Taaseh? There are 3 times in the Torah where Ribbis is mentioned, including last week's Parsha, and what? 2 weeks ago. And what? And in each Parsha, you have more than one lavim. There are a lot of lavim, a lot of prohibitions involved in Ribbis. The Elo Ovrin Beloy Taaseh. These are the people who actually break a lot Taaseh. Hamalve, the lender, Valoive, the borrower, the Orev, the guarantor, he's also in this story, the Adim also, the Adim that without them things wouldn't have happened, yeah, the Oiver also in Lot Taaseh. By the way, the Orev, the Adim are not just Lifnei Iver, as you may think. No, there's another love, specific love for them besides Lifnei Iver. And we're going to explain exactly each love as each one by itself. The Chachamim argue on Reb Shimon, and they say, Af a Sofer, the Sofer also, the scribe, the one who writes the Choiv, even though he's less instrumental, the Orev and the Eidim, without them, there's no Alvo. Many people would not give halva without Orev and without Eidim. Yeah, but some people do milva balpeh. Yes, milva balpeh exists. Milva b'shtar is a higher level. However, Chachamim say that the Sofer who does write the milva b'shtar, if the malve opted for a written shtar, a written chov, then the Sofer is also over on a lav. Which lavim are involved? Oivrim, the Oiver, and the Gemara is going to explain more what each one is over. Mishum loy titen. The first lav is loy titen. Do not give the money be neshech, which means what's loy titen? Don't give a loan with Ribbis, with the condition of Ribbis. Who's over that? Obviously the malve. When the malve hands the original loan, $100,000 to the loive, he's over loy titen. Umishum al tikach meitoi. What is that? Don't take from him at the end of the journey. How much did the guy who gave 100,000? How much did he cash? I don't know, 120,000 extra Ribbis. When he took the Ribbis physically from the hands of the Love, then again he is over in another lav of do not take Ribbis. Giving money for Ribbis is a problem. Taking Ribbis is another one. Umishum lotia lo kenoishe. What's lotia lo kenoishe? Don't pester him. Don't collect it from him harshly. In other words, when the malve asks the loive kindly or not so kindly, he pesters him and he goes and he says, give me the choiv, the demand, give me back the money with the Ribbis, that itself is a love. By the way, sometimes that does not involve Ribbis. Yeah, if a person gets too harsh with his love, with his borrower, within halachic conditions, it's also a problem. Umishum velo tesimun olav neshech. What's lo tesimun olav neshech? don't place neshech upon him. What does that mean? Lotisim of neshech means not the actual giving of the money, but having such an agreement of neshech that's placed upon the love, that's an isser. In other words, to make an agreement, to have a situation, an agreement, an operate, it's called in Yiddish, a scheme of Ribbis, that is a prohibition. Who's over in that prohibition? Not only the malveh, but everybody involved in creating such an agreement, such a contract, they are over. That is also the Edim and the Orev and the Sofer. Don't place Ribbis on him as a precondition to the Alvo. Oh, so we're gonna maybe surprise you, or maybe not, about Lifnei Iver. Usually we think Lifnei Iver is what? When I help Reuven, sin. Reuven is asking me, no, Akiva, do you have some cheeseburger to give me? I give him cheeseburger. Nobody else in Amud B'Shem should give him cheeseburger. I give Reuven cheeseburger, Lifnei Iver. Sometimes Lifnei Iver is a bit different. Who's over Lifnei Iver here? Not the side people, but the sinners themselves are over Lifnei Iver one towards the other. Which means the malveh, let's say it's a from neighborhood, everyone here is Shamayim, nobody does Ribbis unless Heter Iska. These people want to do Ribbis without Heter Iska on purpose. Ribbis Doraisa. Now, Reuven goes to Shimon to borrow with Ribbis, and Shimon lends Reuven with Ribbis, So then each one is machshil, each one is misleading the other to be partner in Aver. That's Lifnei Iver. That itself is Lifnei Iver. The two willing partners, the two adults who do an Aver together, in this case it's Ribbis, then what? That's Lifnei Iver. It's a mutual Lifnei Iver. And therefore, that besides the Sofer and the Edim, that's besides the point, we're going to discuss them too. But even the sinners themselves, now I'll give you another example which came to my mind. If Chas v'Sholem Rachmana litzlan, a from neighborhood, everyone near Shamayim, and the guy's looking for an Eishesish, Chas v'Sholem, So then what? And he finds one woman in Eishesish, and the willing part, besides the horrible Avera, it's also Lifnei Iver. Why? She is Machshilim, and he's Machshil her, right? He's a sinner himself. So what? It's a mutual Lifnei Iver. Besides the real big Avera, that's also over here. The two willing partners are machshil each other with Lifnei Iver. Okay, that's a good time for questions. Rabbeinu Peretz, what would you like to ask us today? Says Gemore, Tanya, says the Braisa, Rab Shimon ben Yochai Omer. Rab Shimon ben Yochai, Lag B'Omer. Minayin l'noishe b'chaver imone. A person, is noishe, is owed money by his friend, noishe b'chaver imone. The borrower usually doesn't say hello to the lender. He's not necessarily a nasty guy. There are two people, Reuven and Shimon. Reuven lent money to Shimon. Shimon is one of those guys who's spaced out, is a bit grumpy. Shimon doesn't say, he's not the hi, hello, how are you guys? Not from Sesame Street, whatever. Shimon is the guy who usually doesn't say hello to Reuven. Okay. And all of a sudden, after Reuven lent him money, he's all smiles and good mornings, top of the morning to you. Says Shimon to Reuven, all of a sudden became super friendly. Well, before that he wasn't. It's forbidden. You're not allowed to say hello to him. How do you know that? How do you know we go to even that extent? Especially, it's not worth money, right? It's not something you pay money for people to say hello to you. Nevertheless, it's a problem. Let's stress the words. One of the many places the Torah prohibits, specifies Neshech, it says kol dovo. Afilu dibur also. What's dovo? Dibur. Speech. Even a form of speech may be ribbis. So when you are super nice to someone, well, usually you're not, that is already called ribbis. The question if it's doraisa or it's the rabbanon with an asmachta. The same thing about thanking too much. I've heard as a bocher, I actually don't know, I haven't seen it inside. I've heard mechlokas of Liashiv and Shlomo Zalman, if you're allowed to even say thank you for a loan. What? One second, I'll be with you soon. I've heard that Rav Yashiv says not even to say thank you. Rav Shlomo Zalman says thank you is not considered as anything extra. But to say thank you too much, to thank him alva too much, to start gushing and thanking, and a lova may feel very grateful is a problem. What's the story you want to share with us? The Elu Oivrin. Oh, so now who is over what? Who are the people? Who are the protagonists in the story of Alvo that are over the Isur Doraisa? The Elu Oivrin Amar Abaye. Malve over bechulon. As we said, the malve is over all five averas, right? the malve, the lender, as we specified. I don't know if I said it in front of the screen, so I'll say again. What are the averes of the malve? There's an avera at the time of the opera, at the time of the agreement, to be sam neshech. When he gives him the money, it's a second avera lo titen, right? When he starts pestering and asking for the money and charging, that's noishe. The fourth one is tikach, to take, when he actually takes it. And the fifth one, throughout the process, is lifnei iver, right? Because he's also machti the loive. The malve has five biggies. That's bad. Loive, oive mishum loy toshich lachicha, velachicha loy toshich, lifnei iver lo titen michshol, which means the loive has an avera not mentioned in the Mishnah actually. The loive has an avera called loy tashich. If you remember the very beginning of the perek, we said lehashich is to give. Help him bite you, right? Ribbis is like, don't be bitten. Tashich is, don't offer your cheek to be bitten. Don't, I'm not saying cheek dafka, yeah? In other words, don't allow him, don't provide him yourself to bite you. And lifnei iver, it's lifnei iver. Both sides are machshil each other with avera of ribbis, loive and malve. What about the orev ha'edim? Oh, the orev, the guarantor, and the edim, and oivrin elam shum lotisim olav neshech. Oh, interesting. In other words, the orev and the edim, the one avera that they're over is to simun olav neshech, because they help who? The malve place ribbis on him. They are part of the agreement. They are part of the agreement of what? Of ribbis. To create a ribbis agreement is of itself an avera, and they're part of the agreement. The edim and the orev, they're integral part of the story. Everyone here is asking, what about lifnei iver? Aren't they over lifnei iver because they're aiding and abating? Oh, Tosfos time. Let's look now in the one and only Tosfos here. Let's see Tosfos inside. It's a last Amud, so let's give it some more eon here. Says Tosfos, or abadim in obrin l'mishabal tisimun. And the question is, excuse me, what about them helping, aiding, abating lifnei iver? Says Tosfos, zimnin, sometimes, true. Sometimes, yeah, the orev and the edim, the helpers, the over lifnei iver. When is that? Oh, as I think, Shlomo, I think that's what you were saying about Mesel Dvar Avera. There's a very big, well-known rule about lifnei iver. When is lifnei iver lav deoraisa? Only when I'm the only one that can provide him the bad stuff, the avera, right? Let's say, yeah, no other person in town would lend him money, right? Then what? Then it's lifnei iver. But if everybody would lend him money, Ribbis, then it's not called lifnei iver medoraisa, because anybody else would do it too. Yeah, I'm the only wine store in town. They live in some hook in the knock, I don't know, somewhere very far in the boondocks. I'm the only person who's allowed by the government to sell wine, right? And the Nazir comes to me. That's also midoraisa. But if you have 10 wine stores, I'm only one of the Nazir, midoraisa, it's not a problem of lifnei iver. That's what Tosfos is saying over here. If the malve would not start moving, not start being malve, wouldn't start lending without orev and edim, the orev and edim are integral part, then it's lifnei iver. But many times people would lend without edim, without orev. I don't know many times, but sometimes people would lend without orev and edim. Maybe they have a hidden camera. Maybe they threaten him. I don't know. They don't have orev and edim. They do it even without them. If the orev and edim are not instrumental, they're not over lifnei iver, right? However, I just want to point out that it's still also midorabanan. Even if other people would provide him with the chait, still it's also darbanan. Many people don't know that. Yeah, I'm gonna soon stand on my soapbox at the end of Tosfos. Aval loy tesimun. However, the love of loy tesimun of what? Creating a ribbis agreement, psikale. That's always true. It's always true when you create an agreement and you're part of the agreement. You're the edim, you're the orev, you're integral part of the agreement. For sure, you're over those averos of lo tesimun, whether you're instrumental or not. You're part of it. Aval lifnei iver zimnan deloy avri. Lifnei iver, you don't always over if you are the orvan edim kigon shemal v'lo b'lavachi. Yeah, let's say he would have, as I told you already before, if the malva would be malva even without orvan edim are not instrumental. They're not over the doraisa of making someone sin. Just like the Moshe Kos Shel Yain LeNozir. Oh, let's say a person hands over a glass of wine to the Nozir. Lo over, it's only Nisa Doraisa, Lahechi the Kai betray every Nahara. Only if there's the two sides of the river. The Nazir is one side of the river, the wine store is the other side of the river. The Nazir has no way how he doesn't know how to swim and he doesn't have any boat. And the wine guy provides him the wine and nobody else would. The Nazir wouldn't have drunk it unless, if not for you, you are the culpable one. That's called Lifnei V'Doraisa. However, again, I want to stress the Lifnei V'Dorabonon, which is Meseyal Dva'avera. Rabbi, that's what he meant. The Hagdar of Meseyal Dva'avera is the Rabbanon version, so to speak, Rabbanon level Lifnei Iver, which is also Osir. And I don't like to start giving Musar or Halacha here, but I sometimes hear people saying it too lightly. In other words, sometimes people, I'm not a Pesach Halacha, ask your local Orthodox rabbi. I'm saying, people many times it comes to all kinds of questions, they say very quickly, oh, other people would have done it. Imagine a frum neighborhood, and I don't know, my wife is a translator. There's a whole community of translators, If every frum translator is asked to translate divrei kfira, divrei pritzes, divrei I don't know what, all the frum translators say, anyone would do it, so I can also do it. Why? Assume nobody would do it, within your group, and then you shouldn't be doing it. You get what I'm saying? People are too quick to say everybody would have done it, would do it. So too I can do the same. Ask a Rav every time. It's not simple. I'm not a Pesach Halacha. But Lamaisa, first of all, it's also the Rabbanon, even if other people would have done it. And secondly, there is also the point of you don't really know if other people would have done it or not. So I'm saying don't be too quick on the draw. That's all I'm saying. Let's continue for now. Okay? Weiter. Tanya. Now a bit of Musar about Ribbis. Rab Shimon Oimer. Malvei Ribbis, people who lend Ribbis, Yoser Mimash Marvichim Mafsidim, more than they gain, they lose, because we saw in Daf Ein Aleph, a person who lends Ribbis, Nechosov Mismaitetim, right? His Nechosim, his assets are going to go down and won't recover. He's going to have a financial fall and never Chas Shalom, never recuperate. Veloy Oid, not only that, Veloy Oid, Ela Shemasimi Moshe Rabbeinu Chocham V'Toroso Emes. They make Moshe Rabbeinu smart, Chocham, sagacious, and Toroso Emes, and they make his Torah true. This is Segin Nahor, Lo Aleinu. When a person is actually Malva Beribis, he makes Moshe Rabbeinu Kivyochol look Chalila not smart, and Kilo the Torah is false. Wow. The Mamish Koifer, a person who's Malva Beribis, can have a big black kippah and can say he's a believer in Hashem and wears a shtreimel and ma'adaktik ba'alocha. But if he's Malva Beribis, he's a Koifer Be'elokim, he's Koifer in the Torah. The Oimrin, and they say, Ilu hoya de Moshe Rabbeinu she'er revach b'dover, lo hoya koisvoi. Had Moshe Rabbeinu known the Ribbis, lending Ribbis is so profitable, he wouldn't have written it. Get it? Moshe Rabbeinu is not up to 2023. You know this kind of talk? In other words, I can't relate to Moshe Rabbeinu. Had he known the amazing profit I make, he wouldn't have written such a thing in his Torah. Interesting. I saw the Taz, in the Shulchan Aruch, one of the Noisei Kelim, I think it's the Taz, he asks, even in this idiotic hashkafa that these Malva Beribis have, what do you mean? Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't know that Ribbis is profitable? Of course he does. They say no. Heroivach b'davar means on the loive. They say Moshe Rabbeinu didn't understand that really this is for the benefit of the loive. The loive gets $100,000, has to give back 120, 130, but that 100,000 is for his benefit. He wants the loan. They're being humanistic. Get it? In other words, the Malva Beribis wants money. He's all of a sudden playing Mr. Liberal, bleeding heart, and says, "Oh, the loivim, they're the ones who really want. I'm doing it for him." Moshe Rabbeinu didn't realize how good I am to the loiv. That's the story here. Yasa of Dimi. Now comes of Dimi, and now we're talking about the different isser of pestering and bothering the borrower. Yasa of Dimi Omar. Let's say a person is being owed money, 100 by his friend. He's owed money by his friend. Oh, that's the case. He knows that his friend doesn't have the money. You know that your friend doesn't have the money, and your friend feels what we call in Hebrew, lo na'im, feels very bad that he has no money. He's a Baal Choiv. Nobody wants to be in that position. He's not allowed to come near him. He's not allowed to, I don't know if he's not allowed to be near him. Don't pass by him, making him feel uncomfortable. Don't pass by his house, Yeah, knowing that that will make him feel uncomfortable. How do you know that it's not allowed? The same pasuk we said about Ribbis also applies to non-Ribbis. Any halvo, lo tiyeh lo kinoisha means don't be noshe. Linshot is like to charge someone in a hard way. Yeah, the noshe is somebody who charges, who collects, who's trying to collect harshly, and that is something you're not allowed to do. Rabbi Ami v'Rabasi dar mitovai. Rabbi and Rabasi, they both say the same thing about this kind of person, and they say ki'ilu danu b'shnei dinin. A person who pressurizes his friend to give him money while he knows that the borrower doesn't have the money, it's as if he dan b'shnei dinin. It's as if he's punishing him, he's judging him with two punishments. Shneimar, it says irkavta enosh leroshenu. Irkavta enosh leroshenu. If the enosh, if another human being is like sitting on our head, is murkav, is like sitting on your head, banu be'eshu b'mayim. It's as if the person owing money to his friend, and he knows his friend is waiting, his friend is pestering, it's as if his friend is putting him through fire and water. Very, very harif. Again, so I asked the Rav about it once, and the Rav told me that if you know the person doesn't have the money, you can't charge. If you know the person has money, or you assume he has money, and he's trying to buy time for no reason, then obviously you can take him to Beis Din, and you can do whatever you want in order to get the money from him. Not whatever you want, I'm saying. Within halacha, you can charge the money as long as, but if you know he doesn't have the money, then it's also. Now on the another nekuda, another point to do with halva, which is nogel halacha. Kol mi sheyesh lo mois umal ve'oisen shaloi be'edim. A person has money and he lends it to his friend with no edim, no star, nothing. There are no edim. I lend you, 10,000 shekels, no edim, just between the two of us, and I trust you. Oh, trust is very nice, but wow, because it's very tempting for the borrower to deny it, because there is no people like money, and people sometimes once they get the loan, it's very hard to get it back. It's Metzia Soilom. You are machshil him. That's lifnei iver, because there is no outside system, security system that would force him to give you back. Yeah, no star, no nothing, no proof. What? Some say star is enough. I think so. I don't know. I'm pretty sure. But it says in halacha you have to have a star, and you have to have edim, or preferably both when you lend money, even small amounts. I don't know about 1 shekel or 10 shekels. Maybe 1 or 10 shekels is not an issue. I also want to explain to you something. The lifnei iver here is not only who's going to keep the money, you may take him to Beis Din, and he may even get to Shuvat Sheker. You don't know how far it's going to go. In other words, I lend money to, I don't know, somebody, to Reuven, and then Reuven would not give it back. I'll take him to Beis Din. Reuven's going to lie in Beis Din, maybe even Nishbal Sheker. You don't know how far it's going to go. And therefore, I am the one who caused it by not being careful. Unbelievable. Obviously, it's his fault. Every lifnei iver is also the other side's fault. Of course, the Nazir, the woman, of course. But since I'm helping him, to be chayta, that's also a form of lifnei iver. Rish Lakish ends, Gorem klolo le'atzmo. At the end of the day, the person who lent money with no edim, with no proof, he causes klolo upon himself. He brings himself a curse. Why? Shneimar, it says, Te'alam in Tehillim, Te'alam nosifse sheker, that the lips of lie, of false, should be kept quiet, should be muted. Adonvers al tzaddik osok. Somebody who speaks against the tzaddik, osok, attack, is bad words, he's going to be, people curse him, and they say, oh, he should be mute, he should be deaf and dumb. What does that mean? Says Rashi something unbelievable. You are going to take him to Beis Din. That guy seems very credible, sounds very credible and a good guy. He'll stand in Beis Din swearing that nothing happened, and you'll come out with egg on your face as if you're claiming nothing. Because when you, right? If you don't have a proof that you're right, who's going to curse you? Other people will curse you for being the bad guy. Yeah? They'll say, oh, look, Reuven lent Shimon with no edim. Shimon is a nice guy. What do you want from me? He's swearing in this. Reuven comes out as if he's the bad guy. Everyone's going to curse Reuven, saying, what do you have against Shimon? Why are you taking Shimon to Beis Din? Why are you suing Shimon? At the end of the day, it's all a result of being uncareful. That's why when you have dealings with people, halva, even with the nicest people in the world, as we're going to see soon, you always have to make sure that there's some kind of security system of warranty that you're going to get your money back, edim, star, in order to make sure. Small amounts, I'll tell you my own humble opinion, I may be wrong, I'm not a posek, but 10 shekel, 20 shekel, you're probably not going to take him to Beis Din. And you're probably not going to mind if he lies about it. It's not nice. You don't mind so much, probably. If you mind, then so have an aid about 10 shekel. That's the parameter, l'choira. The idea is if you're going to claim and he's going to say he's going to lie, and there'll be a whole there's going to be a whole case here, then that's a problem. Kach nirali. I don't know. First white line, we are about to finish the perek. Unbelievable. Omar Rabbanan Ravashi. Yeah. Rabbanan asks Ravashi. Actually, Rabbanan told Ravashi. Rabbanan told Ravashi, you know that the pair of Chachamim who concluded the Gemara, who Rabina and Ravashi. Omar Rabbanan Ravashi. Kamekayim Ravina kol madomu Rabbanon. You should know Ravina is such a tzaddik. He's Mekayim all of the Rabbanons. Everything the Rabbanon decreed, all the exeres the Rabbanon. Ravina is the man. Ravina is very frum. Sholach lei. So he wanted to test him. He wanted to test him. Yeah. In other words, Rav Ashi wants to test, does Ravina actually fulfill each and every tiny detail of the Rabbanon? Sholach lebehadi pani demal shabsa. He sent him a message Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, busy time and not busy time. Busy time. And he asked him, punkt then, in the very pressurized time, Lishder limar asor zuzi, please send me as a loan, lend me 10 zuzim, ditra miliktina dar lemizban, punkt now Friday afternoon, to have a good deal. A small piece of land for sale was offered to me for sale, yeah, on sale. Oh, there's a very quick deal now Friday afternoon. I just saw online a new deal, a new little house. Yeah, I want to buy it. I need the 10 zuzim now. Quickly, please, as a loan. Sholach lei. So now who's being tested now? Obviously, Ravina. Because what does Ravashi tell him now? He says, now that's what Ravashi told Ravina. Lend me money. Ravina sent back and said, Neitimar Sadi, benichtav kosva. Bring me Eidim. It's Friday afternoon. Okay. I'll lend you b'simcha rabba with greatest of pleasure, but send me Eidim. We're going to write a proper start. Sholach lei. Now Ravashi sent him back. Afilu ano. Nami, even you don't trust me? Oh, even me? Sholach lei kol shikin mar. You, I don't trust even worse than anybody else. The Torah begil say, you're so shakur in learning, you're so immersed in your learning, mishtali. Yeah, you're going to forget. You're a very honest person. Chas shalom, you're not a liar. But you're so spaced, not spaced out in a bad way. You're so shakur in your learning, so immersed in your learning, but Garm Klolo Latzmi, you'll forget. And therefore, he passed the test. He passed the test. Yeah, Ravina passed the test. And Ravina really would not budge, would not move without lending, would not lend anybody, not even his best friend and colleague. You know, he would not actually do anything, not move without the proper star and Edim, not even Friday afternoon. And that's where it should be. It always, the biggest problems happen between best friends, right? Because best friend, you trust and you trust too much, and then another statement that has to do with also halva and other things. There are 3 people who may scream and shout and complain, but plead, and Rashi says in Beis Din. There are 3 types of people who may go to Beis Din, Shalmata, not Shamayim, not screaming to Hashem. People come to Beis Din, and Beis Din enananin. Beis Din has nothing to do for them. Beis Din cannot help them. Who are they? Ve'eluhen. A person who has money and gives the money, lends the money without aiding. As we explained, you come to Beis Din screaming and shouting. The other person, go prove it. Go prove he was your best friend. He's not your best friend anymore. Yeah, go prove that. No proof. You can scream in Beis Din. They will tell you what we learned in Kita Daled. You caused it to yourself. You brought it upon yourself. You're an irresponsible lender. A person who creates a situation as if he purchases a master upon himself. A person, we're going to see what that means. He creates a matzav in which he is subjugated to other people. We're going to see what that means. In somebody whose wife controls him, which means what? That person, yeah, it's his fault that he created such an atmosphere in the marriage that she controls him. He allowed it to happen in the relationship. Yeah, that's what usually happens in a relationship, that one side is too weak or something, not always, yeah. But that could happen, that the wife is controlling, and he allowed that to happen. Now he's coming to Beis Din, he wants to get divorced, probably, and he wants not to give her the ksuba. He says she's controlling, she's a horrible wife, yeah. And she's going to say that. This has to be online. You can't say. It says here in Hebrew, it's not my hearing. It says in Hebrew, Ishtita mitzodeket. Okay, so then, but we can, yeah, that's common. So I don't have that hearing yet. So his wife is always right. He allowed that to happen. Now he's screaming in Beis Din that she's doing this and that. He allowed that to happen. What do you want? Koine odon la'atzmo imahi. What does it mean? A person who created, he purchased himself a master. What does it mean? Ikadamri. Some say toilen chosov be nochri. Let's say a person, yeah, comes to shul with a new Tesla. He comes with a fancy suit. He has a fat bank account full of cash, and he doesn't want people to think that he's rich, as we call it in the Gemara in Bava Basra and other places. Loy lehasbias atzmoi. He doesn't want people to think that he's rich, right? Yeah, he doesn't want people to schnorrers, taxes, whatever. He doesn't want to look rich. You know, people should treat him as normal. Doesn't want to be in the jet set of the Gvirim. And what? And therefore they ask him, no, what's this money all about? Obviously, people raise an eyebrow, and he says, this money that belongs to Tim McKenzie. I'm just, it's his money that I'm keeping for him. I borrowed his car, I borrowed his house, I borrowed his money. All my money is not really my money. It's all the company. The company's car. It all belongs to a goy. Now that goy may be listening to him, take him to Beis Din, of course, right? Of course. If he says all my money, he admits. Even the goy knows that. Yeah, he would say my cash belongs to Tim and my car belongs to Jim. So Tim and Jim and all them, they're going to take him to court and say, listen, he admitted the money is his, and you created that situation yourself, and you're going to scream in Beis Din. Nobody's going to hear you. They have it recorded. They have Eidim that say that Shmuel Yankel said his money belongs to me, so it's mine. Some say some people also, they want to actually write the nechosim. They write down the money. Ki'ilu belongs to the children. Yeah. In other words, they say the money is not mine. The money really belongs to the children. They only do it in a fake way, like people do to apartments. They write the money up as if the money belongs to the children. Well, it's not. The children will take them to Beis Din. Yeah. Let's say they do it all the time in Israel, right? People buy an apartment and they write it, in the name of the child. If the child is not exactly to save tax, right? Tax avoidance, and then if people do it, it's half legal. Then the child may not like his parents so much one day, and he said, the apartment's mine. And he has every right to. It's really registered on his or her name. You have to be careful. Be nice to the child that you write, the apartment on. Yeah. And you're going to scream in Beis Din. Nobody's going to help you. Now, Ikadamri, some say another pshat, the bishle behai mata, v'l'ozil mata achrita. Somebody who feels it's bad for him in one city, he's not happy, he's unhappy where he lives, and he doesn't want to live somewhere else. Now, he's not making a change in his life. Very interesting chazal here, yeah? Sometimes people complain. You brought it upon yourself. Why do you stay here? If you're so unhappy where you are, leave, go, make a change. Yeah, you're not creating a change, and you're complaining and screaming. Why are you complaining? The one common denominator is you brought the tsaros upon yourself. Most of the trouble people have in this world, they're bringing upon themselves, and then they blame other people. Don't blame others. Whoa, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, we're done with Ezu Neshech. I would like to read, but unfortunately I don't have it now. We're going maybe now, in a minute or two, we're going to have a small break, and then I'm going to read some halachos Keseder Shulchan Aruch. Yeah, because we came to the conclusion, to the final part of the perek. I'm going to leave some time for questions if you're interested, and then we're going to read from the Shulchan Aruch. Okay, some halachos lemaisa from Ribbis to bring this to the lemaisa. Tomorrow, Imir Hashem, we're starting the next perek, the sixth perek, Asoicher Saumnin. Yeah, agreements between employer-employee relationship. Employer-employee relationship. That is the next perek, Imir Hashem. Let's pause a second, and then I'm going to read the Shulchan Aruch. As we actually, Baruch Hashem, concluded the perek Ezu Neshech, let's read some halacha lemaisa from Shulchan Aruch, Yoredea, Siman Kuf Samech. Says Shulchan Aruch, Sorich lizoyer be'isur Ribbis. One has to be careful with the prohibition of Ribbis. The Kama lavinem ruboy, right? As we said, Malva be'Ribbis, 5 lavim. If you're loive, you have 2 lavim. And some of these lavim repeat themselves in the Torah. to just intensify the chumrah. Ve'afilu haloive hanoisnoi ve'orev, even the loiv, the borrower, hanoisnu gives the ribbis, ve'orev, the guarantor, ve'edim, right? Oivrim, the all over, everybody that's involved is over. Says the Gemara, it says the Ramot, excuse me. The ein chiluk ben imal ve'le'oni le'oshir. Oh, there's no difference. A person may say, "Who cares? This guy is rich. I'm lending a million for not for nominal fee of ribbis. At the end of the day, instead of a million back, it'll be $1,002,000 back. Yeah, even less than that. For him, $2,000 doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference. At the end of the day, ribbis is ribbis. It's a prohibition. Nothing to do with this financial situation. Very, very important. Eloive, this is something important which I don't know if I shared with you before. Eloive is only over beribis deoraisa. Aval beribis derabonon ein over mishum lifnei iver. Interesting. Again, the ribbis, right? There are many types of ribbis derabonon, which means every time ribbis is not b'derech alvo, b'derech mekach umemkar, right? Buying cheap now in order to get more later. Remember, this whole business went for many, many days. Or ribbis derabonon is when it's not ribbis ktsutza. We didn't decide at the beginning that we're going to have a set amount of money. We decided later on that the ribbis was added later, right? It's not ktsutza, it's all derabonon. Ribbis derabonon, the loive, is not over his special isur of loy toshich, but he's still over lifneiver. So if it's ribbis derabonon, the loive has one prohibition of lifneiver because he's making the other one sin at derabonon level. He doesn't have the other avera. Says the Shulchan Aruch Halacha Beis, kolonoisen beribis nechosov mismoitetim. Yeah, the money goes down. You think you're going up and up and up because ribbis is very easy if you lend to other Jews. At the end of the day, at some point, the nechosim will fall. Yeah, he's going to have a collapse, implode. Shulchan Aruch. The ki'ilu kofar b'tzias Mitzrayim. Wow. This is the kofar b'tzias Mitzrayim. Beloike Israel. I told you before, kofar belokim. The guy could be a big maimin and write your whole sefer about the Muna. Is considered halachically like an atheist. Can you have him as an aide at your daughter's wedding? No. Yeah, it's mamish like a koifer. He's mamish like a lolenu. Yeah, out of the camp. Gimel. Atoyle ma'oisov. That's a guy who's smart. Atoyle ma'oisov. What does it mean toile? He connects his money to other people. Meaning, loymar shem shel goy. Oh, he says, my money is not really my money. You think that the land, the 100,000 I lend belongs to me? They belong to me? No, they belong to a guy. I'm just his shliach. I'm just his messenger. I'm just working for a company. His mother beribis, making everyone believe that it's not his money. Beis Din can't take him. He cannot be taken to Beis Din. Cannot do anything about it. Hakadosh Baruch Hu yifra mimenu. Hakadosh Baruch Hu yifra yipora mimenu. Hashem will punish me. Can lie to everybody except for Hashem. Can't lie to Hashem. Sadly so. Can't lie to Hashem, and therefore Hashem will punish the one who is malve beribis, making profit, and he's posing as if he's working for someone else. Doesn't work. Says the Shulchan Aruch Baiter Halacha Daled. Afilu meloy v'noisen lo yoiser midaitoi b'sh'as hapiroin. Oh, we saw that just now. Shelo hitna imoy. The loiva, the borrower, gives him extra. He owes him how much? $1 million, gives him $1 million, 10,000. Why 10,000? A thank you gift. Now, okay, and he gave him out of his own free will. I didn't lend him a ribbis. I gave $1 million, gave me back $1 million with another little cutesy gifty of another, 10,000, 5,000. And he doesn't say, that extra 5 is ribbis. It's still osur. It's still osur. Wow. In other words, if it's at the time of the piroin, though, not later. Get what I'm saying? In other words, it's either, now it's getting clearer. Let's say I lend someone without ribbis, I'm a frum Jew, and then one of two happened. Either he gave me at the time of the return, bank transfer. Everyone does bank transfers today. Instead of seeing 1 million in my account, I see 1,000,001. Vosidos. Yeah, it doesn't say ribbis. It doesn't say in the reference, asmachta, doesn't say ribbis, just stam. What is this? Nothing. Stam. Cute, good, nice. No, it's not allowed. It's just at the same time. Now, what happens if he gave me back 1 million and a week later I see another 1,000 in my account? Then it depends. Yeah. then if it's really just a matono that's not connected to anything and is not ribbis, it's not at the time of the ribbis. It's time he gave me 1,000 shekels as a gift. Nothing to, that's allowed. Done deal. And the gift is disconnected. It's another time, and it's before it's not ribbis. But if you give me the 1,000 later for ribbis, it's also a problem. Continues the Ramo. Umiu, im lo hayamos biyod derech halvo, rak derech mecher mutar b'chei gavna. Let's say there was no loan, but there was a mecher. Let's say there was some kind of business deal between them. And yeah, he owes me 1,000,000 shekel for, I gave him a lot of wheat. Yeah, remember the wheat that they borrowed? I sold him wheat worth 1,000,000. He's now making a transfer 1,000,000 shekel for the wheat plus another matana. In such a way, it's allowed. If he doesn't say it's ribbis, stam an extra, then it's allowed because it's not halva, it's mechira. There was a mechira, there was mekach umemkar, and it's giving it to me. Yeah, stam. He's not saying that's a sachar of your money. He's giving me a gift, although it's given together with 1,000,000 owed, but it's not owed as halva. It's owed as mechira, as paying for goods. Then it's allowed. Again, ask your Rav each case. Hey, afilim omer lebishas lekichas ribbis. Yeah, when he took the ribbis, he said, "Ani noitna lecho b'matono." Let's say there was ribbis agreed upon. Yeah, and they fake it. They want to make it sound frum. Yeah, and they say it's really a matono, right? In other words, they know that it's ribbis. The Shulchan Aruch calls it lekichas ribbis. We decided on ribbis. Treif, noy ravoyim. And at the time of the ribbis, people like to, embellish things and garnish it, garnish the truth, yeah. And they say, it's just a gift. No. Also, lekabli mimeni, you're not allowed to accept it because really it was ribbis, right? Avalim lokach mimeno ribbis, v'tzorch lachzir loi. Let's say a person took ribbis, now he has to give it back. Remember the machloikas, right? Very nice. Let's say ribbis was taken, now Shulchan Aruch sounds like you have to give back the ribbis. Then mo'eles, upapa, I have to the next stage. Mo'eles mechila lefotroi kmo bekol gezel. Then mechila can pater him like any gezel. Matolman achze beribis also. Yeah, in other words, that let's say somebody owes me ribbis money. I gave ribbis. He's supposed to give it back to me, and I was moichel. It's a machloikes. I said, okay, keep the ribbis. B'diavad. He was going to give me back the ribbis. They said, "Shoin." Then it's okay. That's like any other gezel. That's a chiddush. We remember it was a machloek at the beginning of the masechta, and we said that's fine. Again, there are a lot of different conditions here. It says the Rama told me ribbis also. Okay, I don't know what that is about exactly. I don't want to go into this. And okay, let's quickly do vov. Also laakdim ribbis or lacher oisoi. Oh, can do early ribbis, pre-conditioned ribbis, or lacher oisoi. Ketzad nosan enel vilovas mimeno. I have my eyes on someone, he's on my radar, I want to borrow from this guy. But he gave him a gift to the potential lender. Says Rama, upirish b'shvil shelveu, right? Oh, listen to this, Rama. Either like the Mishnah said, I'm out, I'm very open about it, very overt, yeah, very candid, and I say, I'm giving you the fancy cheesecake because I want to get alva from you. Or let's is unexpectedly, not just a cheesecake, a really big gift, like giving a car, a big fancy computer, something really big. You understand? It's as if, why do I give a regular avrech gives a big fancy computer? Mapitom, out of the blue, he got such a big gift. It's not your birthday, it's not even Hanukkah, not even Valentine's. Why am I giving him such a big fancy gift? Avada b'shvil shelveu. It's clear that if I'm giving a fancy gift out of the way, out of line, and all of a sudden I'm asking you 2 minutes later for alva, you put two and two together. That's not allowed. Zoy ribbis mukdemes. That's early ribbis. That's not allowed. Lova mimenu v'echzir l'moisov. Now the other way. I borrowed from someone, gave back the money. V'mishager l'don b'shel moitov shor b'stel l'setzloi. I gave him extra money for thank you for the gift of what? Of lending me. I'm giving an extra money, extra something. The ribbis mucheres, that's late, belated ribbis. It's also v'mover v'sekena is the avak ribbis. Ribbis darabonon. Why is ribbis darabonon? Because it's not part of the agreement. The Oraisa ribbis is only also when it's agreed upon at the time of a vote called ribbis ktsutza. Ribbis that starts later is ribbis mucheres. It's also darabonon. Nevertheless, also here we are. There's definitely much more to know about Ribbis. We only learned the Bekias. Every question should be consulted with a competent Mara Halacha, and Bezos Hashem, we should continue tomorrow. Tomorrow, everybody should know we're starting the 6th perek of Metzia. Thank you very much. Thank you.